those of you who know, Jared Kushner has been closely tied to President Trump for quite some time.
Yeah, he's family.
Yeah, and his father, of course, did go to federal prison for crimes, financial crimes, not a surprise. This one right here?
Yeah, I think it's better.
Let's see how it goes. All right, so now you get to see even more of the screen.
Exactly.
See, I'm learning all these little tricks of the trade.
It's just better, I think.
Well, it does look better.
I know.
Now you can see more. So
Yes.
Jared Kushner's shady $2 billion Saudi deal, unprecedented, says Wall Street investor. I haven't seen anything like this. Well, what haven't they seen that makes this so obscene? Apparently, there really hasn't been any real use of this money. So why would that be? Why would they be hoarding cash at such a obscene level, Jen?
Wait, who's doing the hoarding again? I'm sorry. I drifted off. I heard blah, blah,
the
blah.
Saudis gave Jared Kushner $2 billion to invest for them.
I didn't know any of this was like, this is news? Like, I already thought we knew that they were in with the Saudis and that all these business deals and transactions and sales of weapons and and them staying at Trump hotels. And like, I always thought we knew this, but what's the news?
The news here is that Kushner's PE firm received 64.5% of the AUM from Saudi Arabia, while U.S. investors contributed only a paltry amount of $31 million. Now, of course, $31 million out of $2 billion is a very small amount. It's 1.5%. It's pretty small. And that also goes to show you just how much $1 billion really is. The fact that people can't even really wrap their minds around this type of wealth is insane. Investor Steve Ratner says he doesn't expect the Saudis to make a lot on their investment anytime soon. So then the question becomes, why exactly are the Saudis giving Jared Kushner, who is basically the consigliere to Donald Trump, $2 billion? What would be the motivation for them to give such obscene amount of money?
Well, what is it that they want?
The $2 billion investment.
What do they want?
Former President Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner received for his private equity firm. Remember, the biggest private equity firm in the world is BlackRock. So that'll give you an idea of exactly what Affinity Partners is up to, has continued to stir up controversy. Investor and economic analyst Steve Ratner recently said, found the deal to be highly unusual. Why would it be unusual? Jared Kushner spent much of his White House tenure cozying up to Saudi Arabia and its Crown Prince and Prime Minister Mohammed bin Salman. The investor noted that 6 months after Kushner left Washington, Kushner's private equity firm landed $2 billion in investments from the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund. Ratner shared a chart showing a breakdown of the sources from which Kushner's Affinity Partners received its assets under management. This is definitely, speaking about the merely 1%, 1.5% of funding from U.S. investors, Ratner said that many private equity funds go outside the U.S. for money, usually contributing from Middle Eastern sovereign wealth funds making up around 10% or up to 30%. In this case, it's about 98.5%.
Right.
It's extraordinary, unprecedented. I haven't seen anything like this. And don't get me wrong, Stephen Ratner, as bougie, upper class establishment in the tank neoliberal as it could possibly get. But what I've always tend to point out when it comes to people on the Democratic side complaining about Republicans and Republicans complaining about Democrats, almost all the time, it's usually accurate. It's the scrutiny of your own people that tends to not be accurate. So this chart right here is giving you a pretty good idea of exactly how this money is broken down. You're looking at $2 billion, $3.1 billion for Affinity Partners. $2 billion coming from Saudi Arabia, $200 million coming from the United Arab Emirates, $200 million coming from Qatar, and then $625 million of basically what they're saying here, unaccounted money.
That's the slush fund.
That's the dark money, if you will.
That's dark. Oh, it's dark. But here's what is so like telling is that we're talking about a person who basically reports on corruption and filth, and this is something that they find sort of unprecedented. That's very impressive right there. That's some impressive amount of corruption.
As Miss Anonymous likes to point out, yes, a reporter went missing. You almost have to wonder under what pretenses. This is pretty serious stuff right here.
Are you which reporter? Are you talking about Khashoggi?
Well, it's very possible that this is what Khashoggi may have been reporting on. You know, this is the reality of the way these things work. The only reason why Kushner is not getting the heavy dose of the spotlight right now is because Trump is not in the White House. He's already dealing with his 4 indictments for the litany of things that they're trying to charge him with. In this case, Jared Kushner has basically been flying under the radar because his equivalent in the Biden administration, Hunter Biden, has his own wheelings and dealings that is on the spotlight on him right now. Now, is Hunter Biden involved with as much financial wheelings and dealings at the level that Jared Kushner is involved in? No.
I don't know. He's nowhere near as smart as Jared Kushner either.
That's the rub.
That's the thing.
Jared Kushner
is a lot more dangerous.
Jared Kushner reminds me of American Psycho. Like he's probably genius level like psychopath, and that's very dangerous because a lot of times they do put these Fredo-like individuals in charge of these types of operations.
Okay, Jared Kushner ain't no Fredo.
He's definitely not no Fredo. Is he a Michael?
I don't know.
Is he a Sonny? Is he a Tom Hagen?
He's just not afraid of. No, but I think that's interesting. Like that. But is it, and Metalopoly questions, is there anything illegal? And no, not apparent. I mean, it doesn't seem to be that's what they're saying. But that definitely is a very interesting conflict of interest during a time when it shouldn't be a conflict of interest.
Here's the problem.
Serious appearance of impropriety there for sure.
And I do have a theory on this because the gist of this story, why this story is so important. Why is this story so important? Because what they're essentially saying is that Jared Kushner, through his private equity firm, aka the real system that's been created through Wall Street to essentially protect private dark money, he's sitting on over $3 billion from the most powerful oil nations in the world. So why would he be doing something like that? I think it's pretty simple. Because ultimately, this is the private dark money that is going to be allocated towards Trump in the general election. And why would they do that? Because if Trump ultimately is in the White House again, he is going to do very favorable business dealings again with the Saudi royal family, no different than what he did when he was president the first time.
So you're basically looking at it as general election fundraising. Okay.
One thing about the Saudis.
Yeah, I mean,
one thing about the Saudis, they hedge their bets. They don't take any chances.
Yeah.
For them, you know, and we could have done a story as much as it really has of no interest, I'm sure, to you, as it really isn't of much interest to me either. But it turns out that one of the reasons why golf star, you could even say superstar, depending on how you measure it, Phil Mickelson, who made the deal with the Saudi golf organization.
That live. Mm-hmm. I know about it.
So now it turns out that
they're merging.
The biggest reason that the deal was put together by is because apparently he has a serious gambling addiction to the tune of tens of millions of dollars.
Oh.
So he was in the hole deep. And the Saudis decided that they found their mark. We're going to bail him out. So beautiful.
Oh, okay. It's not nice when you put all the pieces together. Like you say, most people
like
you see like, right, you have to put it all together.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But now it's merging. I saw that. That whole thing. I mean, look, I find golf, I'd rather watch paint dry. And so the idea of even news about something that I find boring is even more boring. But I was aware of that, interestingly enough.
If you're going to call out the crimes and misdemeanors of Hunter Biden, which we have done, you have to call out the same BS when it's coming from Jared Kushner.
I just don't understand how there's any comparison in terms of the threat level. The threat level of Hunter Biden is, I think to himself, you know, I mean, I don't know.
No, Hunter Biden is a useful idiot.
Yeah, but he's just, but I feel like Jared Kushner
doesn't need Donald Trump holding his hand.
I honestly, he has a striking resemblance to like Paul Wolfowitz to me. And I don't know if that's just in my head or like whatever, but like he's very like,
I pointed out, you know, when your own father went to federal prison for financial crimes, it's not hard to believe that maybe Pop taught you a few things.
He's learned a few things. He's learned a few things. And he's perfected the skill. It's like a lot of things. Like we can perfect it. Every generation gets better at certain things.
Oh, absolutely. So if you're going to call it one way, you got to call it the other way. But why is it that people are so silent about this particular story? It isn't because they want to protect Donald Trump. It's because they want to protect Saudi Arabia. Nothing more, nothing less. That's it.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.